And welcome back. I'm Marcus Peter. I'm blessed to be joined by John Hale. He is president of Corporate Travel Services. John is no stranger to this program and no stranger to Ave Maria Communications in general, and I'm blessed to have a friendship with him as well. John, thank you very much for joining us. How are you?
I'm great, Marcus. Thank you for having me on. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. I always love it when we get to connect, and our friendship has multiple layers. It's not just a professional relationship, and so I want to begin by asking you to speak on something that's outside of the professional scope, but so much that's near and dear to your heart, which is the joy of being a husband and father. I was honored to have taught your daughter. I also taught your nephew and niece, and so it's very clear that faith, but also this reality of marriage and the family is such a strong part of your family culture. I invite you to speak to that.
Oh, we've been so blessed, and you've blessed us, Marcus. I mean that very sincerely. And our daughter, our niece, our nephew have just been so formed by your teaching and having them. And really, you're a great hero in our house for your faith formation and educational formation of our kids. So thank you for that, first of all, and thank you for the question. As we've spoken before, it's such a gift. To be a husband and a father. It really is. I mean, it's a way that God allows us to co-create. And I mean, He's the creator of everything. I mean, you think about the world, how vast. And of course, that's part of our business, is to sort of see the world and see it through new eyes and through the eyes of faith. But when you consider, I mean, every little minute thing that's ever been created, and that God brings us into that creation, from more obvious painters, sculptors, culinary, but the height, the pinnacle, the zenith is creating life, and to be that privileged to be part of it. I've just been so thankful for the gift of fatherhood, of being a husband. Of course, it helps when you have a great wife and great kids. God knew I needed really, really good ones to make up for what I lack, and He provided. So it's fun. At the end of the day, I like to have fun. I like to laugh. I like to live in joy, and not every day is joyful, and we're not all, we have a lot of crosses, all of us. But when you can transcend those through the grace of God, and you have people you love and admire to do that with, it just makes life not bearable, but joyful.
I'm going to embarrass you just a little bit. Every time you talk about your bride, you blush a little. It's so clear how in love with her you are.
Yes.
I want to ask, I do a lot by way of speaking to young men, but also just generally marriage and the family. I want to ask if you could speak into that the love you have for your bride today is disproportionately deeper than you had when you first met her, and it grows every day.
It does. I mean, going through life has a way of deepening everything. But she's a remarkable lady. I mean, she is, Kristen, my wife, is just extraordinarily special. She's very gifted, and we have a lot of similar interests and enjoyments, and then we have dissimilar, like everybody, temperaments in some ways, and dissimilar things that we like and enjoy. And we've always been able to leverage that to appreciate a broader range of things. So, Kristen may not have been interested in this, that, or something else, but she's so good about, because I enjoy it, wanting to learn more, wanting to sort of go deeper and share that connection with us. Of course, thankfully, we both love to travel, which is a big part of our life, and all that goes with that. But Kristen's introverted, I'm extroverted, so we not just compensate for that, but we also, I think, allow that to help us, because, my sort of mode of operating is if a little is good, a lot must be great. And Kristen tempers that. It says, you need some moderation. You need, you can't always be with people. You need to recharge. You need to replug. And so I think if you allow your spouse and those around you to help you with your blind spots, to shave and sand down your idiosyncrasies and inclinations, you're better. And it's not always easy. It's not always, but it can be, and it can also be a way to open up a much broader world than sort of our little narrow world where we think this is all of life, is what I like or enjoy, and to see it through a broader lens, widen the aperture, and life gets a lot more exciting and fun.
I laughed so hard because I'm quite the introvert. A lot of people don't know this about me. They think I'm a natural extrovert because of what I do. I'm not.
Yeah. Well, that's often the case, too. I mean, I think people who are in a type of communication or acting, it gives them the ability to be with people, but in a different way. And I think, and you're very friendly, and so people can confuse friendly. Kristen's very friendly, but she's introverted, and you can confuse those. It's just where you sort of go to get your recharge,
Now, with all of that shared, especially with that beautiful complementarity that you brought about with you and Kristen, the work that you do at Corporate Travel Services, it's a shared mission. It's not just a business for the sake of a business. You're both legates, quite literally. You are representatives of the gospel and the kingdom in this garden that you're working, that God has given you to labor in.
Well, that's the hope and the goal and the prayer, certainly. And our mission at Corporate Travel is to enhance lives through events and travel that build culture. And the ways in which we feel that our events and travel can build culture is through travel and events related to family, music, education, and faith. And those take on a lot of brands, a lot of different avenues. But at the end of the day, I think it's a charism of hospitality that our team enjoys, and that we really try to bring to that work and that mission, and to just love people through serving them. And it's not always easy. I mean, serving is difficult. I wear this rosary with a crucifix here because there's often moments, we get people who are very pleased and grateful and have been changed by what God does through us. And then there are those who aren't happy or aren't pleased, and that that anything that you do in life can bring fair and sometimes unfair criticism, but that's part of it, and that's what you just have to lean in and allow God to say to God, you're allowing me this cross, and let it purify my intentions. I'm not just doing it for the praise or for the business or for the wrong reason, and over time He chisels and works and sands sometimes, and hammers sometimes, but that's in essence the work. That's the mission, and the charism, I think, of our team is hospitality, and to love the people before us and serve them in a way that brings them to Christ, again through faith, music, education, and family events and travel.
And thereby, when people are traveling with Corporate Travel Services, one of the things that I've seen very clearly come out of the programs and the events is this very directed sense that there's a mission at play. So this is not just an event for the sake of an event.
Absolutely. That's absolutely true. So an example, we were recently we rented a riverboat in the south of France, and this is a area that includes Avignon, where the papacy was for a short time, and Burgundy, which is a great culinary and wine region of France. And Kristen and I had privileged to spend a few days there with Dr. Liz Lev and Dr. Thomas Williams a few years ago, and experienced both the faith, the culinary, and the wines of that region. And I thought, gosh, wouldn't it be great if we could have rent a ship and then curate an itinerary for people to experience these little-known areas of France. And in the end, we had the chance to go to Avignon. We went to Ars, the Curé d'Ars, St. John Vianney. We were able to go to Paray-le-Monial and pray before St. Margaret Mary Alacoque, who had the vision and the apparition of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And then again, wind our way through food and wine and culture with Father Mike Schmitz. And it was a beautiful... So, yeah, it starts with a vision, and hopefully it's one given to us by God, and we just try to run with it and work it through.
Well, John, I want to say thank you not only for joining us here today, but your heart. It's very clear you and David and your family, as you lead your work, you're trying to lead with prayer. You're trying to lead with your own sense of the faith, and I want to say thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot, Marcus. Thank you. Good to be with you.
Likewise. My guest has been John Hale. He is president of Corporate Travel Services, and we've been talking largely about the application of our spiritual life in the work we do, and particularly in the work of corporate travel and facilitating travel and pilgrimages and education and music for the sake of building the culture for Christ. Stay tuned. I'm Marcus Peter.